Today we talk to
Jaan Bossier.
Where are you from?
I'm born in Belgium, where I made my studies in Antwerp, and then a little later, after I studied, I moved to Germany, and since 15 years or so I live in Bad Schwalbach, a little village in the Taunus, the hills in Germany next to Wiesbaden, near to Frankfurt. There I spent my life.
Why did you choose the clarinet?
In fact, that was quite a coincidence. My father is a sculptor, so we had a lot of art at home. Musical education belonged to daily life, and I started in music school, and one day the local banda came to me and asked me what do I want to play. I said, I don't know, and they showed me some instrument that was called a clarinet, and I said, oh yes, very nice, I take that. So quite a coincidence, but later on I noticed it was the right choice, or maybe just any instrument would be fine. I don't know. I noticed that music was the right choice for me. I could express myself, I could explore and express myself, and I found out that with the clarinet I managed quite well. So coincidence, but a good one.
What do you always keep in your clarinet case?
Yeah, I guess you're looking for some emotional answer or so, something I carry with me, but I just don't have it. I even don't have any emotional connection to any specific instrument. It's a clarinet, I take it, I play, it's broken, I take another one. I don't really mind. I am making I do the job. So probably because of that, I also don't have anything special in my case, if you're looking for that. Anything which is dear to me, I somehow carry in me.
What life-changing advice have you been given?
Many people gave me good advices, and I wouldn't sit here like that without many people that structured my life. But there is one moment I was playing during my study time in the Gustav Mahler Youth Orchestra, where I have met Claudia Abbado for the first time, and I do remember a certain moment. Something was not together, or I don't know, something happened in the orchestra. He just stopped the whole rehearsal and said, "Don't look at me, listen." And this for sure has influenced all my future professional life. Also, if today it sounds obvious, if you hear that, but as a young person, you try to follow the conductor nicely, you're making the first steps here. You're figuring out how music making functions, and this has definitely influenced all my decisions. Everything is decided by the ear. Everything you do, the sound, your collective sound, your function in the group, the timing, balance, my whole music making actually is based on that advice.
Can you tell us about your work with the Mahler Chamber Orchestra and the Lucerne Festival Orchestra?
Yeah, I do work with the Mahler Chamber. In fact, I'm a founding member of the Mahler Chamber Orchestra, so I'm there since 21 years. Also, in that function, then I got to play in the Lucerne Festival Orchestra, where I play the bass clarinet. And I can definitely say that this experience made me to the musician I am today. Two different orchestras, obviously. With the Mahler Chamber we do more classical repertoire, smaller orchestra, 50-60 people. Lucerne Festival Orchestra is the big repertoire, Bruckner, Mahler. I did all the Mahler symphonies with Abbado. But in the end, it doesn't really matter which size the orchestra has, because the base of making music in these places is chamber music. You listen to each other, you react on each other, you give an answer, maybe another answer than yesterday. You sit on stage in the concert and you do something else than you did in the rehearsal, and everybody is reacting. There is an enormous flexibility. Everybody is fully 100% engaged, and that is something what I've rarely seen elsewhere. So probably that is the most important aspect of playing there. Of course, I had the chance to play with fantastic colleagues, conductors, soloists, and this collective made me grow, made me play better probably. Think of this way of making music, no matter where you are, small orchestra, big orchestra, chamber music, always listen and react, play chamber music in fact.
How did you end up working with Ensemble Moderne?
In fact, I met some of the members of the Ensemble Moderne around in the world. For example, Lucerne Academy. Of course, new music is going on there, and some members of the Ensemble Moderne were teaching. And I was there with the Lausanne Festival Orchestra, so we met or in other places. And then, they got to know that I live around the corner near Frankfurt, and they knew I have some experience, or in fact, a lot of experience with new music, experimental music. As a clarinettist and as a conductor, so I had the honor that they invited me, and little by little we started a very nice collaboration. And when the place came open, of course I applied, and I'm now in the ensemble since 5 years.
What kind of clarinettist do you consider yourself?
I do know I cannot live in any cave of style. So I do play chamber, I do play Lausanne Festival, so the orchestra part, but I also play, as you know, in the Ensemble Moderne, completely different kind of music, new music, experimental. I have my own quartet for which I write my own music. This is again something completely different. Maybe you can call it world music, I don't know. I develop my own style. I have another passion, teaching. So I cannot live with only one of these things. I don't know why, but I need all of it, and I try to do all of it in my life, and all this together closes my musical circle. And I can say for sure, one thing is influencing the other. So I need the complete package for my body. You cannot nail me into one style or one cave.
Which concert will you never forget?
There are, of course, several concerts I will remember, but again, I pick one. It was the very first concert the Lausanne Festival Orchestra has played in 2003. You know, the Lausanne Festival Orchestra has a large tradition, and it stopped in, if I remember well, in 93. And Abado wanted to restart the orchestra in 2000, but then he got very ill. So the whole project got postponed, and finally the first concert we played with that orchestra was in August 2003, and he has changed the program for that, and we played the second symphony by Gustav Mahler, The Resurrection. We rehearsed a whole week for that, every day, 6 hours, just one piece. I know it's a long piece, but still, 1 week is quite exceptional. And then finally, at the end of the week, we played that concert, a concert that everyone was waiting for since years, that this orchestra would finally play again. We went on stage with all that energy. You know the famous opening of the second symphony. We spent everything we have in our body, a lot of energy. We had tears while playing in the end. So of course I keep that in my mind. And the day after, we restarted the next project. The second program would start with the orchestra again with Abado. And before rehearsing, he gave a little speech. He wasn't a guy of many words, just 2 sentences. But he said that the concert the day before was like a new life for him. Because after his illness, he didn't know what would happen. He didn't perform for a long time. And then he changed the program. He did Mahler Resurrections, like he survived the illness, and he said this orchestra, this what we could experience yesterday evening, is like you are giving me a new life. And obviously this was very touching for all of us. I still feel it when I talk about it. So this is for sure a concert and a moment that I carry with me forever.
Can you share a funny anecdote with us?
I didn't mention yet the clarinet group I'm playing in. Actually, I don't really like more than one clarinet at the same time. But we do have a group of 6 people. I play in, some old friends, and we play all the clarinets, all the saxophones, and all kind of repertoire we arrange or write ourselves. It's a very funny group. And we don't only play, it's also moderated in the concert. We talk a lot. And there was one piece we needed to play, or we wanted to play, is the Champagne Polka by Johann Strauss, the son. And we needed one guy playing the funny guy to make the sounds of the cork getting out of the bottle, of the champagne bottle, you know. Guess who wanted to be the victim? Who was the victim? That was me. So you can imitate the sound of opening a bottle by cutting a bike pump, put a cork in and let it fly, make PAF! So somewhere during the music, actually several times where it fits into the music, I make this funny sounds. And the first one, no one is expecting in the public. They think we are going to play very serious music, and then I'm standing up and do this funny thing. But the thing was, I had once a concert in Sendesaal Bremen, and just before going on stage, some stage guy, well, nobody could see him, asked me, what are you going to do on stage with your bike pump? And I was already half on stage, and I explained very fast, yeah, you know, I have this piece and I have to shoot that thing. Oh, he said, be very careful, because there is some fire detection system just underneath the ceiling. And I think it works with infrared. So any object that interrupts those lines will create a rain concert, and a fire alarm will go off, and so. Okay, yeah, thank you. I had to go on stage, and that was the only thing which I had in mind. So I jump on stage, the music starts, I have to do my first bam, and I was hiding the cork, I put it on. And the moment I shoot, there's only one thing going through my head, not too high, the fire alarm. So I shoot quite hard, and I hit a woman on the second row, so quite close, exactly here, between the eyes. So that was not such a good start, but the show must go on, so we were keeping a smile and laughing. So we had to go on. This piece takes 3-4 minutes, and in the end of the piece, I opened a real bottle of champagne and I fill in the glasses for us. Somehow I found an extra glass and I brought it to the woman, and luckily for me, for us, she was already smiling again, but especially afterwards, I thought it was quite a funny moment.
Can you tell us about your teaching method?
Technique for me is always in function of the imagination of sound you want to produce in any particular situation. Whatever you're playing, classic or folk music or romantic, you need to imagine something, and the technique has to bring you to that point. Obviously, for that you need to control your instrument, so there is a big part of technique in my teaching. And not to get bored, I let my students very often invent their own exercises in function of what they need. And next to that, I think I teach everything. I'm not the guy just to stand still with only Mozart or orchestra. There is so much you can do with your clarinet. Obviously the concerti, the things everyone wants to play, the concerti, the orchestra things, but there is also new music, there is new techniques, there's improvisation, there is folk music, you can write your own things, you can improvise on it. I teach everything, and I try to organize it this way that one thing is always influencing the other. So it's again the whole package you get.
How do you see the future of the music world developing?
In general, the younger generation has many more ways to spend free time than, let's say, 50, 60 years ago. They can do many more things than just music. So in that way, it's logic that orchestras get reduced, or we have a little less possibilities to hear classical music. The culture is a bit in danger, we could say. But if you really want to make music, if you really want to be a musician, then I think you have to go with your time. If you only want to play Mozart 200 years ago, music of 200 years ago or 300 years ago, Bach, you might be disappointed. Is your body fulfilled? You have enough work? Are you happy with what you create? I think you have to be very creative and look for your own musical social participation. That is, I think, what you always have to keep in the back of your mind if you want to do music. Go and live with your time and give an answer to that in the way you want it to sound.
Have you learnt anything personal during this pandemic?
I think many themes became extra relevant again. If it is anything new, I don't know for myself. For example, we have seen a lot of ecological themes, climate themes became again very relevant, and I even made programs around that. I gave a musical answer to that. Cyber reality, for example, it's got also very present, our way of communication. Also for us as musicians, we gave a lot of live stream concerts. So this is nothing new, but it became more relevant, and I reacted on that, I worked with that. Besides that, I found out again that I'm a person who can live very well just on my own. I don't need that much social contact. I'm not dying if I don't see anybody for a long time, or I can also live without my clarinet for 2 months. I noticed it is no problem. So that just got confirmed again. Is it something new? I don't think so.
Do you have any projects in the near future?
Yes, I do. With my quartet, as I said, I write my own music. I do like reading, so the project I did before with my quartet was called Klezmenko. I made a combination klezmer and flamenco, and the flamenco part came actually from Federico Garcia Lorca, who was not only a writer but also a pianist. So I discovered he played a lot of folk music, Spanish folk music with La Argentinita, the singer. He improvised on the piano, and some of these songs exist on the recording. I found that recording and I did my own thing with it. And now I'm working on a new project. It's called Echo, and again literature is on the base of that program. I like reading Haruki Murakami, and there is one figure from his book Kafka on the Shore. So Kafka, the protagonist, in fact, to say it very shortly, in this book Kafka is looking for himself. He's listening to his inner voice, is still developing himself as a young person, and exactly this point, listening to your inner voice, I took as a concept for my new program called Echo, and I take my inspiration there and write a lot of music for that for the moment.
What do you appreciate in a performer?
The biggest quality is probably that the instrument you play or the voice you use is just a medium. What you want to tell something, your emotions, a statement or just a message, and you're using this by your imagination. And the instrument you use is just a medium. So the ability to make this translation, you forget you play the clarinet in our case, you change your emotions into sounds. So you need a lot of imagination for that. That is probably what I appreciate the most.
Do you have any advice for the Clarinetistas del Futuro?
Follow your inner voice. Try to find out what you want other people to know about you. How do they want to hear you? And then you have to use your creativity and again translate this into your personal music.